You know what the most dangerous thing in the world is? It's not a weapon. It's not a natural disaster. It's not even hatred. The most dangerous thing in the world is allowing someone else's actions to define your worth. And I'm going to tell you something right now that might make you uncomfortable, something that might make you shift in your seat, but I need you to hear this. When someone hurts you, when someone who claimed to love you betrays that trust, disrespects you, takes you for granted, the worst thing you can do is shrink. The worst thing you can do is make yourself smaller, because that's exactly what they expect. They expect you to break. They expect you to beg. They expect you to lose yourself in the pain of what they did. But what if I told you that your response to that hurt could be so powerful, so transformative, that it doesn't just heal you, it completely changes the narrative? What if I told you that you have the power right now, in this moment, to make them regret ever underestimating you? Let me take you back to a moment in my own life. I was 22 years old, standing in a room full of people who were supposed to be on my side, and I heard someone I trusted, someone I had given my energy to, my time to, my loyalty to, tell someone else that I wasn't good enough, that I didn't have what it takes, that I was just lucky, not talented, not special, just lucky. And I remember standing there, feeling like the ground had opened up beneath me. You know that feeling, don't you? That moment when someone's words cut so deep that you can actually feel your heart physically ache in your chest. I went home that night and I cried. I cried until I had no tears left. I looked at myself in the mirror and I asked myself the question that so many of us ask when we're hurt. What's wrong with me? Why wasn't I enough? But then something shifted. Something inside me that had been sleeping, something that had been quiet, suddenly roared to life. And I made a decision in that moment that changed everything. I decided that their opinion of me was none of my business. I decided that their inability to see my value said everything about them, nothing about me. I decided that I was going to take that pain, that rejection, that hurt, and I was going to transform it into fuel. Not fuel for revenge, because revenge keeps you tied to the person who hurt you, but fuel for evolution, fuel for becoming so undeniably successful, so impossibly confident, so radiantly happy that they would have no choice but to witness what they lost. And that's exactly what I did. See, here's what nobody tells you about being hurt by someone. In that moment of pain, you're standing at a crossroads. One path leads to bitterness, to anger that consumes you, to playing victim for the rest of your life. That's the easy path. That's the path where you get to blame them for everything that goes wrong from that point forward. You get to tell yourself that you would have succeeded if only they hadn't hurt you. You get to make excuses for why you're not living the life you want. And listen, I'm not judging that path. A lot of people take it. It's comfortable in a sick way. It's familiar. But there's another path, a harder path, a path that requires you to look at that pain and say, thank you. I know that sounds crazy. Thank you to the person who hurt you, but stay with me. Thank you for showing me who you really are. Thank you for removing yourself from my life before you could do more damage. Thank you for creating space for something better to come in. Thank you for underestimating me, because now I'm going to show you and everyone else what I'm really capable of. That path, that response, that's what transforms victims into victors. I want to talk to you about a woman named Maya. Maya isn't famous. She's not a celebrity. She's a woman I met 3 years ago at an event. She came up to me after I spoke and she was crying. She told me that her husband of 12 years had left her for someone else. Someone younger, she said. Someone he worked with. She told me that he had made her feel like she wasn't attractive anymore, like she had let herself go, like she was boring. He had systematically destroyed her self-esteem over the course of 2 years before he finally left. And she stood there in front of me, this beautiful, intelligent woman, and she asked me, how do I make him see what he's lost? How do I make him regret leaving me? I looked at her and I said something that surprised her. I said, you don't do it for him. You do it for you. The moment you start your transformation with him in mind, he still has power over you. The moment you start your transformation because you finally realize that you deserve better, because you finally understand that his opinion of you was distorted by his own insecurity and selfishness. That's when the real magic happens. I saw Maya again last year. I didn't recognize her at first. She had lost weight, yes, but that wasn't what made her unrecognizable. It was the way she carried herself. It was the light in her eyes. It was the confidence that radiated from every pore. She told me that after our conversation, she made a decision. She stopped looking at his social media. She stopped asking mutual friends about him. She stopped fantasizing about him coming back. Instead, she joined a gym not to get revenge body, but because she wanted to feel strong again. She went back to school and finished the degree she had abandoned when she got married. She started a business doing something she loved. She traveled to places she had always wanted to see. She made new friends. She dated, but on her own terms, never settling for less than she deserved. And then one day, at a mutual friend's party, she ran into him. And you know what happened? He stared at her. He couldn't take his eyes off her, not because she looked different physically, though she did, but because she was different energetically. She was whole. She was happy. She was thriving. And he wasn't. He approached her and tried to make small talk, tried to find an opening to tell her he had made a mistake. And you know what she did? She was polite. She was kind. But she was indifferent. She didn't need his validation anymore. She didn't need his apology. She didn't need anything from him. And that indifference, that complete and total lack of need, that's what made him regret his choice more than anything else ever could. Because here's the truth that nobody wants to admit. When someone hurts you, they're expecting a reaction. They're expecting you to fall apart. They're expecting you to chase them, to beg them to come back, to prove to them that you're worthy of their love and respect. And every time you do that, every time you give them that reaction, you're confirming their narrative that they made the right choice to hurt you. You're giving them power. You're telling them that they're so important, so valuable, that your entire world revolves around them. But when you take that hurt and you transform it into growth, when you take that rejection and you use it as motivation to become the best version of yourself, when you take that betrayal and you decide that it's going to be the catalyst for your greatest comeback, something interesting happens. You take back all the power. You become the author of your own story again, and they become nothing more than a footnote, a brief chapter in the incredible epic of your life. I'm going to share something with you that might sound harsh, but I need you to hear it. The person who hurt you is not thinking about you as much as you're thinking about them. They're not losing sleep over what they did to you. They're not obsessing over how to make it right. They've moved on with their life, and they're expecting you to either come crawling back or to be broken forever. So every minute you spend analyzing what went wrong, every hour you spend looking at their social media, every day you spend hoping they'll realize what they lost, you're giving them free real estate in your mind. You're letting them win. You're proving them right. There's a story I love about a farmer and a snake. The farmer is working in his field one cold morning when he finds a snake frozen and nearly dead. Being a kind man, he picks up the snake and puts it inside his shirt to warm it up. As the snake thaws and comes back to life, it bites the farmer, injecting him with deadly venom. As the farmer is dying, he asks the snake, "Why did you bite me? I saved your life." And the snake responds, "You knew what I was when you picked me up." When someone hurts you, especially when they hurt you repeatedly, they're showing you who they are. And the question isn't why they did it. People do what they do for a million reasons, most of which have nothing to do with you and everything to do with their own wounds, their own insecurities, their own brokenness. The question is, why are you still picking up the snake? Why are you still giving them access to you? Why are you still hoping they'll change when they've shown you over and over again that they won't? Making someone regret their choice isn't about revenge. It's not about making them jealous. It's not about proving anything to them. It's about proving something to yourself. It's about proving that you are resilient, that you are valuable, that you are powerful beyond measure, that no matter what anyone does to you, they cannot break your spirit unless you let them. I want you to think about the strongest people you know. the people you admire most, the people who inspire you. I guarantee you that every single one of them has been hurt. Every single one of them has been betrayed, rejected, abandoned, underestimated. But what separates them from people who stay stuck in victimhood is their response to that hurt. They didn't let it define them. They let it refine them. There's a Japanese art form called kintsugi. It's the art of repairing broken pottery with gold. When a piece of pottery breaks, instead of throwing it away or trying to hide the cracks, they highlight the cracks with gold, making the piece even more beautiful and valuable than it was before it broke. The philosophy behind it is that the breakage and repair is part of the object's history, and rather than something to disguise, it's something to celebrate. The piece is more beautiful for having been broken. That's what you need to understand about being hurt. The cracks, the scars, the broken pieces of your heart, they don't make you less valuable. They make you more valuable. They make you more beautiful. They make you more interesting. They give you depth. They give you empathy. They give you wisdom. But only if you choose to repair yourself with gold instead of hiding in shame. So how do you actually do this? How do you respond when he hurts you in a way that makes him regret his choice? Let me break it down for you. And I need you to really hear this because this is where the transformation happens. First, you have to feel it. All of it. I know we live in a culture that tells us to be strong, to move on quickly, to act like nothing bothers us. But suppressing pain doesn't make it go away. It just makes it fester. It just makes it come out in other ways, in other relationships, in other situations. So feel it. Cry if you need to cry. Scream if you need to scream. Break some dishes if that's what it takes. But give yourself permission to feel the full weight of the hurt. Not for weeks or months, but for as long as it genuinely takes you to process it. And here's the important part, feel it privately. Don't blast them on social media. Don't text them paragraphs about how much they hurt you. Don't tell everyone who will listen about what they did. Feel it in private, with a therapist, with a trusted friend, in your journal, in your prayers. Because the moment you make your pain public, you make yourself vulnerable to more hurt. Second, you have to understand that it's not about you. This is the hardest part for most people to grasp. When someone hurts us, our ego immediately makes it about us. What did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? Why wasn't I enough? But the truth is, hurt people hurt people. Everyone who has ever hurt you was carrying their own pain, their own trauma, their own insecurities, and they projected it onto you. The man who cheated on you, he's running from himself. The friend who betrayed your trust, she's dealing with her own inadequacy. The boss who undermined you, he feels threatened by your talent. It's never about you. It's always about them. And once you truly internalize that, once you understand that their behavior is a reflection of their character and not your value, everything changes. Third, you cut them off completely. No contact. None. I don't care if you have to see them at work or if you have kids together or if you have mutual friends. You create boundaries that protect your peace. You don't engage in arguments. You don't try to get closure. You don't ask for explanations. Because here's what I've learned. Closure is something you give yourself, not something you get from someone else. The person who hurt you will never be able to explain it in a way that satisfies you. They'll never be able to give you the apology you deserve. They'll never be able to make it make sense. So stop waiting for it. Stop giving them opportunities to hurt you again. Cut them off and mean it. Fourth, and this is where the real work begins, you invest in yourself like your life depends on it. Because it does. You take all that energy you were putting into them, all that mental space they were occupying, and you redirect it toward your own growth. You start that business you've been talking about. You write that book. You take that trip. You learn that language. You get in the best shape of your life, not for them, but for you. You go to therapy and heal those wounds that existed long before they came into your life. You read books that expand your mind. You surround yourself with people who celebrate you, not tolerate you. You say no to anything that doesn't serve your highest good. You become so focused on your own evolution that you don't have time to think about them anymore. And here's what happens when you do this. Here's the magic that nobody tells you about. You become magnetic. You become the kind of person that others are drawn to. You become confident, not in an arrogant way, but in a way that shows you know your worth. You become happy, genuinely happy, not performing happiness for social media, but experiencing joy in your daily life. You become successful, whatever that means for you. And all of that transformation, it's visible, it's tangible. People can feel it when they're around you. And eventually, and it always happens, the person who hurt you will hear about it. They'll see a picture of you. They'll run into a mutual friend who tells them how well you're doing. They'll hear about your promotion, your new relationship, your travels, your happiness. And something will shift in them. They'll start to remember the good times. They'll start to minimize the reasons they left. They'll start to wonder if they made a mistake. And they'll reach out. They always reach out. And this is the moment where you have to be strong. This is the moment that determines whether you've truly transformed or whether you've just been performing transformation while secretly hoping they'd come back. Because when they reach out with their, "I've been thinking about you," or their, "I made a mistake," or their, "Nobody understands me like you did," you have to make a choice. You can go back to the familiar pain, back to the cycle of hurt, back to being with someone who already showed you they don't value you. Or you can hold your boundaries, honor the work you've done, and keep moving forward. I chose to keep moving forward. Every single time someone from my past tried to come back, I chose myself. Not because I wanted to punish them, but because I had worked too hard to rebuild myself to let them knock me down again. Not because I was bitter, but because I was clear about what I deserved. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I wanted peace. There's a poem I love by Warsan Shire. She writes, "You can't make homes out of human beings. Someone should have already told you that." And that's the lesson in all of this. We spend so much time trying to make people stay, trying to make people love us, trying to make people see our worth. But the only person you need to convince of your value is yourself. The only home you need to build is within yourself. The only love that truly matters is your own love for yourself. When I think about all the times I've been hurt, all the times I've been rejected, all the times someone made me feel like I wasn't enough, I don't feel anger anymore. I feel gratitude, because every single one of those experiences pushed me to become who I am today. Every closed door led me to a better open door. Every person who walked away made space for someone better to walk in. Every moment of pain was preparation for a moment of triumph. You know what the ultimate revenge is. It's not showing them what they lost. It's genuinely not caring anymore whether they see it or not. It's being so happy, so fulfilled, so at peace with yourself that their presence or absence in your life is completely irrelevant. It's looking back at that chapter of your life and being grateful it ended because it led you here, to this moment, to this version of yourself that's stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your purpose. I'm going to tell you about a man named David. David was engaged to a woman he had been with for 6 years. 3 months before the wedding, she called it off. She told him she wasn't sure anymore, that she needed space to figure out what she wanted. David was devastated. He had already paid for the venue, sent out the invitations, planned their honeymoon. He felt humiliated. He felt like a failure. He spent the first month after the breakup trying to convince her to come back, sending her flowers, writing her letters, showing up at her apartment. And she kept rejecting him, kept telling him she needed space. Finally, his best friend sat him down and told him the truth. She's seeing someone else. She has been for months. She's not confused. She's just too scared to tell you the truth. David felt like his world ended. But then he made a decision. He stopped chasing her. He took all the money he had spent on the wedding and used it to start the business he had always dreamed about. He threw himself into work, into building something meaningful. He started working out, not because he wanted to look good for anyone else, but because the physical pain of exercise helped numb the emotional pain of heartbreak. 2 years later, David's business was thriving. He had lost 50 pounds, not through obsessive dieting, but through a healthier lifestyle. He had traveled to 5 countries. He had started dating again, casually, not looking for anything serious. He was happy, genuinely happy. And then he got a message from his ex. She wanted to meet for coffee. She wanted to talk. Against his better judgment, he agreed. She showed up looking tired, stressed. She told him that the relationship with the other man hadn't worked out. She told him she had made a mistake. She told him she wanted another chance. And David listened, and then he said something that changed his life forever. He said, "Thank you for showing me that I deserve better than someone who would treat me that way. Thank you for breaking my heart because it forced me to rebuild my life in a way I never would have if we had stayed together. Thank you for leaving because now I know what I'm capable of when I bet on myself instead of betting on us. I hope you find happiness, but it won't be with me." He told me later that walking away from that coffee shop, he felt lighter than he had in years. He felt free. Not because he had hurt her back, but because he had finally, truly, completely let go. He had taken his power back. That's what I want for you. I want you to take your power back. I want you to stop waiting for them to validate you, to apologize to you, to see what they lost. I want you to validate yourself. I want you to acknowledge your own worth. I want you to see what you have to offer. Here's something else I need you to understand. The people who hurt us are often dealing with their own pain in the only way they know how. That doesn't excuse their behavior. It doesn't mean you have to forgive them or let them back into your life. But it does mean you can release the anger, release the bitterness, release the need to make them suffer, not for them, but for you. Because holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It only hurts you. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting what they did. Forgiveness means accepting that the past cannot be changed and releasing your emotional attachment to changing it. Forgiveness means saying, "What you did hurt me, but I'm not going to let it control the rest of my life." Forgiveness means choosing peace over justice, choosing healing over revenge, choosing your future over your past. I forgave the person who told me I wasn't good enough. Not because they deserved it, but because I deserved peace. I forgave them years later when I had already achieved success beyond what either of us could have imagined. I forgave them when their opinion no longer mattered to me. And that forgiveness set me free in a way that no amount of success ever could. Let me talk to you about social media for a moment because I know this is where a lot of people get stuck. When someone hurts you, the temptation to blast them online is strong. The temptation to post carefully curated pictures showing how amazing your life is without them is overwhelming. The temptation to check their page obsessively to see what they're doing, who they're with, whether they're happy, it's almost irresistible. But I'm going to tell you something. Every time you do any of those things, you're giving them power. You're showing them that you still care. You're showing them that they're still in your head. You're showing them that they still matter. The most powerful thing you can do on social media is silence. Silence coupled with genuine happiness that occasionally shows up in your posts because you're living your life, not performing it. Silence that makes them wonder what you're thinking, what you're feeling, whether you've moved on. Because the human brain hates uncertainty. The human brain needs closure, and when you give them silence, when you deny them access to your thoughts and feelings, it drives them crazy in a way that angry posts never could. But again, and I cannot stress this enough, you're not doing this for them. You're doing this for you. You're protecting your peace. You're maintaining your dignity. You're refusing to let them see you break. Not because you're pretending to be strong, but because you actually are strong. Let's talk about the physical transformation piece because I know a lot of people focus on this. Yes, taking care of your body after heartbreak can be therapeutic. Yes, looking good can boost your confidence. Yes, there's something satisfying about knowing they're going to see you looking your best. But if that's your only motivation, you're going to burn out. You're going to injure yourself. You're going to develop an unhealthy relationship with food and exercise. The physical transformation has to be about you feeling good in your body, about you honoring your body, about you being healthy and strong. If it's about them, even subconsciously, you're still giving them power. I worked out every day for 6 months after someone hurt me. At first, I told myself it was for me, but I was lying. It was so they would see me and regret leaving. And you know what happened? I got injured. I pushed too hard, too fast, and I tore my rotator cuff. And as I sat there in physical therapy, unable to work out, I had to confront the truth. I was still letting them control me. I was still making decisions based on their opinion of me, and that's when the real healing began. Now when I work out, it's because I love how it makes me feel. It's because I love being strong. It's because I love the discipline of showing up for myself every day. And if someone from my past sees me and thinks I look good, that's a nice side effect, but it's not the goal. Here's another truth, and this might be hard to hear. Sometimes the person who hurt you will never regret it. Sometimes they'll move on and be happy and never think about you again, and you have to be okay with that. You have to find your peace regardless of whether they ever acknowledge what they did. You have to heal even if they never apologize. You have to thrive even if they never witness it. Because you're healing your happiness, your success, it's not dependent on them seeing it or acknowledging it. It's dependent on you claiming it. I've had people from my past reach out years later with apologies. I've had people admit they made mistakes. And I've had people who never acknowledged the hurt they caused, who probably don't even remember it the way I do. And both situations are okay, because my healing wasn't dependent on their apology. My growth wasn't waiting for their acknowledgement. My success wasn't seeking their validation. There's a concept in psychology called post-traumatic growth. It's the idea that people who experience trauma can actually emerge from it stronger, wiser, and more fulfilled than they were before. But it doesn't happen automatically. It happens when you make a conscious choice to find meaning in the pain, to learn from the experience, to use it as a catalyst for positive change. It happens when you refuse to let the trauma define you and instead let it refine you. Every person who has ever hurt me has taught me something valuable. They taught me about red flags to watch for. They taught me about the importance of boundaries. They taught me about my own strength and resilience. They taught me that I can survive things I thought would destroy me. They taught me that I am enough, with or without their validation. They taught me that my worth is inherent, not earned through someone else's approval. And now when I look at pictures of them, when I hear their names, when I think about those experiences, I feel nothing but indifference and maybe a little gratitude. Not gratitude for the pain they caused, but gratitude for the growth that pain forced me to pursue. You want to know how to make them regret their choice. You become undeniable. You become so successful, so happy, so confident, so at peace that anyone who knows you can see the glow. You become the kind of person who walks into a room and changes the energy. You become magnetic, not because you're trying to be, but because you've done the inner work to heal your wounds and step into your power. You become whole, and here's the beautiful thing about becoming whole. You stop attracting broken people. You stop accepting crumbs. You stop settling for less than you deserve. You start attracting people who match your energy, who celebrate you, who add to your life instead of taking from it. You start recognizing red flags early and walking away without drama. You start trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, trusting that you'll be okay no matter what happens. The person who hurt you expected you to break. They expected you to beg. They expected you to prove your worth to them. They expected you to accept less than you deserve because they convinced you that's all you're worth. And every day that you thrive without them, every day that you choose yourself, every day that you honor your own value, you're proving them wrong. Not to them, but to yourself. And that's what matters. I'm going to leave you with this. You are not defined by what happened to you. You're not defined by who hurt you. You're not defined by who left you. You're not defined by who betrayed you. You're not defined by your past, your mistakes, your failures, or your heartbreaks. You are defined by how you respond. You are defined by the choices you make after you've been knocked down. You are defined by your resilience, your courage, your determination to keep going even when it hurts. You are powerful beyond measure. You are valuable beyond words. You are deserving of love, respect, kindness, and all the beautiful things life has to offer. And anyone who couldn't see that, anyone who hurt you, anyone who took you for granted, they didn't lose you. You freed yourself from them. So when you leave here today, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Promise that you will never again beg anyone to see your worth. Promise that you will never again shrink yourself to make someone else comfortable. Promise that you will never again accept treatment that you wouldn't want for your daughter, your sister, your best friend. Promise that you will invest in yourself with the same energy you used to invest in them. Promise that you will protect your peace at all costs. Promise that you will rise from this stronger, wiser, and more aligned with who you're meant to be. And when they come back, and you'll be so far ahead, so elevated, so transformed that you won't even recognize the person you were when you were with them. You'll thank them for leaving, because if they hadn't, you never would have found yourself. You never would have discovered your strength. You never would have realized that you don't need anyone to complete you, because you were always whole. That's how you make them regret their choice. Not by plotting revenge, not by trying to hurt them back, but by becoming so phenomenally, undeniably, radiantly yourself that they realize they had a diamond and traded it for dust. And by then, you won't care, because you'll have moved on to bigger, better, more beautiful things. You'll have moved on to a life that honors you, celebrates you, and reflects your true worth. The pain you're feeling right now, it's temporary. The strength you're going to build, that's permanent. The lessons you're learning, those are forever. The person you're becoming, she's unstoppable. So feel the hurt, learn the lessons, do the work, and then rise. Rise so high that they need binoculars to see you. Rise so completely that their regret becomes irrelevant, because you're too busy living your best life to notice. You are the author of your story. This is just a chapter, not the whole book. And the next chapter, it's going to be extraordinary. I promise you that. Because you're extraordinary. You always were. You just needed this experience to prove it to yourself. Now go out there and show the world, show yourself, and yes, show them what they lost. Not for revenge, but because it's your birthright, because you deserve to shine, because you deserve to thrive, because you deserve to be happy. And nothing and no one can stop you unless you let them. The comeback is always greater than the setback. Your comeback starts now.